2016 Chevrolet Malibu 2.0T. This stalwart midsize sedan most definitely is back in the hunt. The 3-box Chevy sedan arrived with the new for $1,949 Chevrolets, which grew proper trunks that were flattened and pulled out from the old bustleback fleet lines and master deluxes of the Streamliner era. How many of us saw Dad off to work in a Biscayne or a Bel Air, or remember them all lots clogged with Novas and Caprices? The Chevy sedan was every man's car, the car you drove if you cared more about value than flash. Malibus were once everywhere, even in Malibu, but the Japanese long ago moved the bullseye for high-value CONFORMIDY, and Chevrolet has struggled to hit it. Too big, too small, too boring, too unreliable, the mid-size Chevy sedan devolved into a car you would rent but never buy. Well, here is GM's latest attempt to reverse the Malibu's typecasting. As with the new Chrysler 200, the 2016 Malibu attempts to strum the heartstrings with modern, swept styling. Look at its new shoulders and those tendon lines on the body sides. Muscle and sinew emerge as the light plays in interesting ways. The headlights squint menacingly, like a Thug, or like a Camaro. Also like a Camaro and all the new Cadillacs and Buicks, the Malibu's belt line is hiked way up to make the roof seem low, leaving narrow doggers for side glass. Graham never tires of that bunker top styling, no matter what it costs in visibility. What it costs in dollars is $22,500 for a base Malibu and $34,285 for this absolutely loaded Premier. Those prices shadow mid-size majors such as the Honda Accord and Toyota Camry, though Chevy has followed the Hyundai Sonata's lead in making the Malibu four-cylinder only. This may save some weight and cost, but as with the Turbo Mustang, we don't see any great benefit to owners. While the base 1.5-liter turbo forgives appropriate power and economy, at least on paper, the 250 HP 2.0-liter turbo in our test car delivered only V6 fuel economy with not quite V6 acceleration. The Malibu 2.0T's 60 mph run is fleet enough at 6.1 seconds, but significantly slower than a comparable V6 Camry or Accord. Meanwhile, the Malibu's MPG ratings 22 city/32 highway, roughly match those of the Honda and Toyota V6s. Our test average of 20 miles per gallon proves the rule that a small turbo in a big car burns gas fast. Noted, a hybrid Malibu is coming with more price-like economy. The mid-size segment is as much about dimensions as it is about price or power. Chevy used to bracket the Japanese leaders with two cars, one too small Malibu and one too big Impala. Old Malibu was rightly savaged for its tight backseat as well as its dull styling, so new Malibu stretches its pizzazz over a 111.4-inch wheelbase, more than 2 inches longer than the Accord, the Camry, and the Nissan Altima, all of which have identical 109.3-inch wheelbases. The Malibu is a little longer overall than the rest, too, though our car's 3,307-pound test weight is a true triumph for the engineers, making the Malibu one of the lighter cars in its class. The back seat passengers benefit the most from the extra inches, with ample real estate to sit comfortably. Up front, the dash is a complicated sculpture built up from a multitude of pieces with different textures and colors, including a kind of futuristic faux wood with pinstriping. The cabin isn't ugly or cheap, but it is busy, with panel part lines everywhere. The optional 8-inch center touchscreen standard on the Premier 7-inchers get-fitted to lesser model looks like an iPad slid neatly into a docking port, and its large icons and many functions, including Apple CarPlay, will be familiar to anyone who has driven a late-model Grand car. Note, you still don't get a multifunction knob to work it with, as you do in the Mazda 6, so your fingers do the walking. Or you can bark commands at it. In back, the tyranny of plain black plastic takes over, though the fancier versions give rear seat riders their own USB ports and 12 and 120-volt outlets. Other practical conveniences include trunk releases for the rear folding seats, but thanks to the sexy, hiked-up styling, the Malibu's bumper is a high hurdle to clear when loading the trunk itself. The 19-inch rims and aluminum gas pedal of our Premier didn't fool anybody. Oh, the Malibu steers precisely and brakes earnestly, but it simply doesn't have the Accord's or Mazda 6's tactile feel or liveliness of spirit. The 8-speed automatic shifts without bump or bluster, and the engine makes particularly quiet power up to its 6,500 rpm redline, adding to the Malibu's overall sense of solidity. The Premier model only comes on 19s, which make an otherwise disciplined suspension clomp over the rough stuff. A smoother ride is surely available on lesser model with their 16, 17, or 18-inch wheels. If not an overly sporty sedan, this SPACIOUS Malibu feels like a quality car, not at all like its many banked-together and shoved-out predecessors. That alone may propel a few through the barrier separating the rental lot from the private garage.